Have you ever wondered why sometimes an event that hasn't even happened, yet keeps you awake at night? Is it normal to be so worried about something you have never experienced and maybe never will? It's as if your brain is talking to itself. Thoughts chase one another, and in every scenario, you end up losing. And in the end, you just get tired. If you are caught in this silent war, you are not alone. But here's the good news. You don't need anyone's help to change this situation. The solution is in your own hands. Stoic philosophers, who lived thousands of years ago already, found answers to these questions. They were able to maintain inner calm, even in the middle of the storm. In today's video, I will share with you 13 powerful strategies used by great thinkers like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca. These strategies will help you not only reduce anxiety, but also discover your inner strength and stand firm in the face of life's difficulties. If you want to get to know these strategies closely, watch the video till the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you're ready, let's begin. The first strategy is to take control of your thoughts. Epictetus once said, "It's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." This sentence sounds simple, but behind it lies a magnificent truth. Anxiety, that feeling of worry, is not actually the result of something happening. It is your brain's reaction to an event that hasn't happened yet and maybe never will. Imagine a thought comes, maybe I will lose my job. Then another thought, what if something bad happens to my loved ones? And before you know it, these thoughts affect your health, tighten your chest, and steal your sleep at night. But here's an important detail. Not every thought is true. Just because a thought arises in your brain doesn't automatically mean it is correct or necessary. That is why the first Stoic strategy is this. Take ownership of your thoughts. Learn to lead the voices inside your mind. Don't obey them blindly, question them. Does this thought help me? When I believe this thought, do I feel better or worse? Because as you change your thoughts, your feelings will begin to change too. Anxiety will give way to calmness. Fear will be replaced by confidence. Then you will realize that you were never a slave to your thoughts. You just forgot it. The second strategy is to distinguish between what you can control and what you cannot. This is one of the most powerful lessons in the world. Some things are in your hands and some are not. If you can recognize this difference, your life will become much easier and your mind much calmer. This is where the fundamental philosophy of Stoics begins. Spend your energy only on what you can control. Because tiring yourself over things you cannot change is wasting the power inside you. Imagine this. You are at an airport. Your flight is delayed. You get upset, worried, your plans are disrupted. But think, can you change the weather? Can you fix the airplane's technical problems? No, these are beyond your control. The only thing you can do is choose your reaction. At this time, you can spend your energy on something useful. You can read a book, take deep breaths and stay calm, or simply accept the situation. Because there are only 3 things you can control. 1, your thoughts. 2, your decisions. 3, your reactions. Everything else from other people's words, their attitude toward you, the weather, the economy, what will happen in the future is beyond your sphere of control. And if you realize this difference and say to yourself, I cannot change this, and let it go, you will feel a lightness inside, because your soul will no longer carry a burden. Thus, the secret to tranquility is having the courage to let go of control. The third strategy, let's call it here and now. Anxiety is the shadow of the future. It is getting lost inside a morning that hasn't come yet. It's as if your brain is riding a time machine, constantly filled with the question, what will happen? But life is neither in the past nor in the future. Life happens only in one place, this moment. Marcus Aurelius said, the past is already gone, the future is uncertain. The only thing you have is this moment. Think about it for a moment. Yesterday is no longer here. Tomorrow hasn't come yet, so everything you worry about does not exist. Only the here and now exist. If your mind still wants to run away, if your thoughts drag you from one place to another, just stop, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I am here. I am in this moment. I am in control. Because your breath is here, your heart is here. The energy in your body is here. Your existence is in this moment. For the Stoics, this was not just meditation, but a way of life. They knew that the past brings regret and the future brings anxiety. But the now is the source of calm, strength, and freedom. As you bind yourself to this moment, the grip of anxiety will weaken. You will no longer be the owner of a restless mind, but of a present being. The fourth strategy is to remember death. Yes, this may sound strange at first. Remember death? Maybe you're wondering how this can be advice for staying calm. But in the deep wisdom of the Stoics, there was this phrase, memento mori, remember death. This is not to cause fear. It's not to cause depression. On the contrary, it is to live life more fully, more consciously, and more calmly. Because death is life's greatest teacher. It tells us this moment will never come back. That issue you worry about may not even matter tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow won't even come. Anxiety traps us in small and insignificant details. Will they like me? What if I make a mistake? What if my plan fails? But remembering death silences all these questions for a moment, because you realize life is too short to waste on such worries. The issue is not when death will come. The issue is how you will live until it does. The Stoics woke up every morning remembering this. It did not scare them, on the contrary. It urged them to live more courageously, more deeply, and more truly. So ask yourself this question. If today were my last day, would it be worth living with this much worry? The answer lies within you, and that answer will lead you to a calmer, more meaningful life. The fifth strategy is to see yourself as part of the universe. Seneca once said, "We are parts of a greater whole." This is not just a poetic idea, it is a profound reality. Anxiety often arises when you feel alone, broken, and purposeless, as if everyone else has their life together, but only yours is falling apart. As if the world is working against you, as if you don't belong to this system. But stop for a moment and breathe. You are inside this universe, and you are not a random part, but a living part of it. The sun shines its light, the seas ripple, trees breathe, and you are part of this rhythm. This understanding gives you two things. One, comfort, because you know you are not alone. Two, trust, because the flow of life puts everything in its place. Yes, sometimes you may feel lost, but remember, when a star disappears from sight, it does not vanish and it simply moves off stage. You too are playing your role on life's stage. This role may sometimes be calm, sometimes difficult, sometimes built on waiting, but it is still your role, and it is not meaningless within this order. The Stoics said, "Everything in the universe is in its right place. So are you." When you realize this, you will be at peace, because you will know that you are not in a void, but part of a greater whole. The sixth strategy is negative visualization, that is, thinking through bad scenarios in advance. At first, this may seem strange, but the Stoics saw it from the opposite perspective. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. The reason was simple. What you fear, if it catches you unprepared, is destructive. But when you face it with preparation beforehand, it is no longer as strong. For example, think like this. If you have an important meeting tomorrow and you think through the possible difficulties in advance, you already have a plan. Maybe the questions will be hard. Maybe you won't arrive on time. Maybe there will be a technical problem. But you have already considered these possibilities and prepared yourself. The result? Weak points get strengthened, anxiety weakens. Negative visualization does not say bad things will happen. It simply tells you, if it happens, you are ready. This mindset strengthens your mental resilience, because you no longer face surprises with fear, but with an alert mind. You are no longer a victim. You are a prepared participant. Remember that in life, not everything will go according to plan, but you can continue to plan. And the more prepared you are, the calmer, steadier, and stronger you will remain. The seventh strategy is to focus on your breath. What does that mean? It's obvious that anxiety tenses the body. Breathing speeds up, the heart races, hands tremble. But the good news is, what affects the body can also be calmed through the body. At this stage, the simplest yet most powerful weapon is the breath. Just stop, take a deep breath through your nose, hold it for 3 seconds, and slowly exhale through your mouth. This may seem very simple, but within this simplicity lies great power. When you take control of your breath, you take control of your mind, because the breath is the meeting point of body and mind. If it is calm, you are calm. The Stoics did not meditate in the classic sense, but they applied such practices in their own way to achieve mental calmness and inner discipline. They often sat alone, observed their thoughts, and by focusing on their breath, distanced themselves from the storms of the mind. Imagine your mind as a turbulent sea. The breath is the anchor thrown into this sea. Wherever you are dragged, as you return to your breath, you return to yourself. Breathing is not just living, it is the art of staying calm. Every time anxiety knocks on your door, do not answer it. Just close your eyes and return to your breath. Now let's meet the 8th strategy. One of the greatest inner tensions is fighting with our emotions. Especially when disturbing feelings like anxiety arise, many of us try to chase them away, silence them, or deny them. But the Stoics show us a different way. Don't fight anything. Just observe. Because every emotion is like a guest who comes, stays for a while, and then leaves. If you do not judge this emotion, meaning you don't see it as bad, dangerous, or a weakness, then you are no longer its puppet. You are the observer. Tell yourself, this is an emotion. I feel it, but I am not this emotion. You are not anger. You are not fear. You are not anxiety. You are the consciousness behind those feelings, the being who observes them. This mindset gives you freedom. Because you no longer drown in emotions, you can look at them from above. Imagine a river flows. It is hard to be in the water. It carries you away. But when you sit on the riverbank and watch the flow, you start to stay in peace. Emotions are like that. They come not to be changed, but to be waited out and observed. And as you manage this, you will be strong, not weak. 9th strategy. Anxiety often puts you in a frozen state. It feels like you can neither move forward nor step back. You just stand still. Your mind is full of 1,000 thoughts, but you don't take a single step on any of them. Now, Stoic philosophy was created exactly to change this situation. They said, if something troubles you, you have 2 options. Either change it or let it go. But don't remain passive. If the problem can be solved, take a step, investigate, speak, act. In other words, be active. If that thing is out of your control, then let it go. But being stuck in the middle, with passivity eating your soul, makes you both weak and angry. Remember, anxiety is a feeling, but action is a choice. And every time you act, the fear inside you quiets down. Because your brain no longer says, I am in danger. It says, I am in a fight. Imagine you are in a dark room. Sitting and being afraid won't make the darkness go away. But if you take one step, find the switch with your hand, the light will turn on. Sometimes this light is just a small decision. Sometimes it's just talking to someone, writing something down, or opening a window. But as you act, anxiety loses its power, because you are no longer someone frozen in front of it. You are someone who chooses their path. 10th strategy is to accept what is natural. What does this mean? Everything in life, the stones in a flowing river, the flight of birds, the change of weather, is part of nature. We are also a drop within that great order. But the problem begins when we try to control this order. Sometimes we want people to behave the way we want. Sometimes we want life to go according to our plans. But reality does not always comply with our wishes. Here is a powerful lesson the Stoics give us. Seneca said, accept whatever life brings, because it is part of nature. This does not mean you should agree to everything or give up the struggle. It means, if something has happened, it is already part of life. Fighting it is like shouting at the sky when it rains. If you try to control everything, you will get tired. If you learn to accept everything as it is, you will calm down. Acceptance is not weakness. It is a sign of inner strength. Because you are no longer fighting life, you move in harmony with it. Imagine the wind blows. Instead of resisting it, the tree bends and lets it pass. Then it straightens again. You should behave like nature. Accept, straighten, move on. 11th strategy is to protect your boundaries. Sometimes what causes you anxiety is not your own thoughts, but what others expect from you. I must please everyone. They must not judge me. Maybe they will get upset. Thoughts like these pull you away from your own life. But the Stoics said, other people's opinions are not your responsibility. If you try to please everyone, you lose yourself. If you are afraid to say no every time, you are trapped in a hidden chain. The first step to break this chain is to set boundaries. Remember, saying no is not a bad thing. Saying no is saying yes to yourself. This is not selfishness, it is self-protection. Because much of the anxiety eating you inside comes from squeezing yourself for others. If you do not make time for yourself, you get lost inside others. Setting boundaries sometimes means simply leaving a message unanswered. Sometimes it means not attending a meeting or protecting yourself with one sentence. This is not right for me. Such small steps will give you great freedom because now you act not by others' opinions, but by your own values. And believe me, the more you protect your boundaries, the calmer, stronger, and less anxious you will be. 12th strategy. The most dangerous part of anxiety is that we immediately believe the first thought that comes to mind. What if this happens? Or what if it doesn't work out? Or what if they criticize me? These questions pull you away from inside. But the Stoics took a different approach. They said, don't believe your thoughts, question them. And they asked themselves questions. These questions were simple but incredibly effective. Is this fear justified? Is it based on reality or just possibility? What is the worst that could happen? Even if this happens, can I handle it? Will this matter 5 years from now? Sometimes you are crushed by today's problem, but 5 years later you won't even remember its name. These questions shake the brain. They wake it up from automatic thought flow, because anxiety is often the result of fears we accept without questioning. But as you ask questions, your thoughts weaken, reality grows stronger. Ask questions, seek answers, find relief. Because your brain wants to protect you, but sometimes it makes mistakes. And with these questions you tell your brain, I am thinking now, I am in control. This gives you inner calm and clarity. Finally, the 13th strategy, maintaining calmness. For the Stoics, getting angry was a sign of weakness. Staying calm, however, is the greatest sign of inner strength and willpower. Because sometimes life throws great storms in front of a person, as if anger, panic, and fighting the storm are the only options. In those moments, you lose your energy and your spirit becomes weary. But if you can turn anxiety into calmness, then you have already discovered the power inside you. This power is the most important weapon for walking your life path firmly and without shaking. Think, every time you take a deep breath and calm yourself, you tell yourself, I am in control of this moment. I am managing life. And this power frees you from both anxiety and stress. You are no longer a prisoner of external events. You create calmness within your inner world. This is the greatest wealth and the greatest freedom. Thus, anxiety is the disease of our time. But the answer is hidden in the words of the ancient Stoic philosophers. If you include these 13 strategies in your daily life, you will gradually feel the difference. Remember, silence is not weakness. Calmness is actually conquering the storm within you. If you found these strategies helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it. Love to everyone from the Stoic Master channel.